Once again, this guy is a guy you guys voted to talk about. Appreciate all the votes. Today we're going to talk about the Eagles drafting a receiver in the later rounds and a guy who could be there, who could fall to the Eagles. This guy's name has been floating higher and higher in the Eagles community, but I was on this guy over a month ago. What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Talk Podcast. If you are new to the channel and love talking Philly sports every single day, hit that subscribe button. Now, if you weren't sure about who this guy was, but little by little starting to hear his name, starting to watch his film, starting to see the potential, know there's some rawness to him, but see the potential, smash that like button. And oh, by the way, it helps this content and pushes it out to other Philly fans. With all that being said, let's talk about Quez Watkins. Over a month ago, after the Combine, I put this video out. 5 guys that impressed me at the Combine. Now, let's talk about the last guy that impressed me at this Combine.
Paula also played here. I played with him.
Absolutely, and here is Quez Watkins.
Quez Watkins, out of Southern Mississippi. He's 6'2", 190 pounds. Let's talk some 2019 stats. 64 receptions for 1,178 yards and 6 touchdowns. And his 40 time was a 4.35. You guys are probably like, who is this guy? Because that's what I did. But after he ran a 4.35, I did my research. I watched some tape and I checked where the people think he's going to be drafted. A lot of people have him in the 4th round. If the Eagles were looking for another receiver and all these other receivers are going between the 2nd and 3rd, well, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round, and we already got Justin Jefferson, and we're looking for a late receiver, he could be on our radar. I did like his 40 time. It impressed me. As you can see, right after the NFL Combine, after seeing him come out and go second to Henry Ruggs with a 4.35, he opened my eyes. So I started to do my due diligence on him before his name got really big in the Philadelphia community. But I didn't make a solid video on him, but I talked about the Eagles attacking in the 4th round, maybe the 5th round, and he could be there. Now, that 4.35 40 could have opened people's eyes and the potential he has to maybe move him up to a very late 3rd round. But I still think this guy is going to get picked and have the most value in the 4th round, and that's where the Eagles have 3 picks. Now, because our 3rd round pick is 103rd, which is pretty much a early 4th round, depending on who's on the board at that point, we might have to use that 103 pick on a guy like him. But I do believe he will be there in the mix of our 3 4th round picks. That's 127, 145, and I believe 168. When you look at a guy like Quez Watkins, who when he first got to college, his first year, he redshirted. Then his freshman year, his sophomore year, and his junior, each year he took a bigger step. And he's deciding to enter the draft after his junior year. This guy could go back to college, Southern Miss, and do 1 more year as a senior. Now, if he did that, he'd probably get a little bit more mechanically better, a little bit more of his rawness, technique could be better, and then potentially having another better year because each year in college he got better. So if he went back as a senior and had a better year than he did as a junior, then his potential draft status in the 2021 draft could even be higher. But that's why I like the fact that he's entering as a junior where he's kind of off the radar and on the radar only because of the NFL Combine and him running a 4.35. But there's more to him than just speed, and that's where we could get a steal in the 4th round with 3 picks there. Aaron Moorhead is a guy who they're talking highly about him. Well, he could be a guy who can teach these guys and bring him to the next level. I'm telling you, this guy is a very versatile guy who, again, will slip in the draft because there is some issues, but more talent than issues I see on his game film. With that being said, let's talk about some strengths and weaknesses of Quez Watkins.
Abraham takes a shot for Watkins. Right on.
He's 6'1", 190 pounds out of Southern Mississippi. Strengths, pure speed, 4.35, and it shows on tape. A great second gear.
Quez Watkins, stop and go. And look at him go. Pull it away.
Growth, added something new to his game each year. Last year was more contested catches.
Minor showing blitz. Abraham going up top. This is Watkins. Quez is there, and he'll go up and win.
Versatility. Can play inside and outside.
Sliding down. Watley's going to have to hurry.
And to take this game, really the last 3 quarters, as any representation of what this season.
Big play ability on short routes or quick slants.
This. Abraham. Underneath. Deja vu.
Let's talk some weaknesses. Played in Conference USA. That's not the best competition. 2019 college conference rankings according to USA Today. 1 Big 10, 2 SEC, 3 Big 12, 4 Pac-12, 5 American Athletic, 6 ACC, 7 Mountain West, 8 Sun Belt, 9 USA Conference, and 10 MAC. Route running. Cuts are not that crisp, tends to round everything off. Relies on his speed to free him up.
You see the stack look in the top of your screen. Catch made and
Zone killer, but needs to work on getting open and press man.
Is a volume catcher, 73 catches a year ago for 9 touchdowns, and it's Diggs that just matched him up. The play before.
His stop and go ability needs work. 3-cone drill, 7.28. They said that about DK Metcalf as well. Cone drill, 7.38. Again, when you look at these guys' weaknesses, these are things that he can improve on in the NFL if he has a good positional coach. Being able to run routes better. That takes watching film and practicing hard. Being able to be press man is getting your weight up and learning how to fight at the line of scrimmage. But there is things that this guy got that you can't teach. 4.3 speed, that's not teachable. Big playmaking ability, that's not teachable. Having heart, that's not teachable. And this is things that I see this kid play with on the field, even though it's against lesser competition. That's what you want to see too. Yes, he played against lesser competition, but he also played some good defenses. And when he played the bad teams, he made them look bad. You want to see that. And hopefully he can be drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles in the 4th round. That's where I think his value will lie. And again, when it's all said and done a couple years later, he might not be playing at a 4th round talent. I mean, Antonio Brown was a 6th round draft pick, and I'm not comparing him to him because their games are different and he's a different type of animal. You don't normally get 6th round talents to be Hall of Famers or 6th round talents to be the best receiver in the league. But it just goes to show, if you take a chance on a guy who has potential and then work on the other things, this stuff can happen. It doesn't happen for the Eagles, but it can happen. And also, by the way, he played for the Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles. So he's going to go from the Golden Eagles to possibly playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. That story can write itself. Let's also talk about the growth I talked about in one of his strengths and how he improved each year as a freshman, sophomore, and junior. As a freshman, 23 receptions, 337 yards, and 2 touchdowns. His sophomore year, 72 receptions, 889 yards, and 9 touchdowns. And as a junior, 64 receptions, 1,178 yards, and 6 touchdowns. What would this kid have done if he played one more year in college? Also, when I was learning about this kid, I did realize that in the last year, his junior year, he was suspended for 2 games, and it was pretty much because of his school. I guess he was doing bad in some classes or something along them lines. I don't know. But the school suspended him for 2 games and he still finished with over 1,000 yards and suspended for 2 games. Does that show red flags in the NFL? I don't believe so. Just because, you got in a little school trouble, whatnot, it wasn't nothing over the top, out in the streets, all that stuff. So the kid is a guy who shows heart on film. Like I said, his breakaway speed is something special. There's things that he needs to learn. He's not as polished as these guys who are going to be drafted in the 1st and 2nd round. But like I said, when it's all said and done, Quez Watkins' name, we might forget that the Eagles looked at him in the 4th round when he's putting up big numbers in a Philadelphia midnight green jersey. Lastly, depending on what we do at the 1st round pick, who we get. Do we get Denzel Mims? Do we get Justin Jefferson? Do we get Jalen Reagor? Do we move up and get one of them big 3? Who knows? But if we do get a receiver who's going to play on the outside, then you can slowly move a guy like Quez Watkins, who played on both inside and outside, in the slot where he can, kill zones and not have to worry about press man, not have to get the number 1 outside or even the number 2 outside. He can just sit in the zone and kill him when it comes running up the seam, when it comes to going across the field, things that he will be more comfortable with, not having to run precise routes, being able to just use his speed to get inside the zone or get behind the zone, things that he can do well. So, depending on who we get at the first receiver, Quez Watkins could thrive in the slot, and then as he transitions, move him around and get things going with a guy who can get vertical and can play that X position. With all that being said, thank you guys for watching and all the constant support. Appreciate you guys 100%. And let me know in the comment section what you think about Quez Watkins. What's his potential look like? What's the issues that you see on film with this guy? And lastly, when do you think he could fall to the Eagles? Or when do you think the Eagles should pull the trigger on a guy like him? Let me know in the comment section. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Smash that like button. It helps me out. Appreciate it again. Like I said, you know what time it is. We out.